the absolute height of his powers, Luka looked like a force of nature that simply could not be contained. I still have to pinch myself realizing he is actually a Los Angeles Laker. When you see him rocking that purple and gold number 77, what runs through your mind? Before we break it down, smash that like button if you are hyped for this season. However, away from the highlight reels, a darker narrative was brewing. We have seen him hit the deck hard, pop back up, and get right into it with guys like Kris Dunn. Yeah, Jackson Hayes might be hitting the showers early too. Luka went from being the league's golden boy and scoring machine to a guy racking up 107 technical fouls, 5 ejections, and losing over $370,000 in fines. And now, headlines are screaming that an owner finally banned him for violence. Let's get to the bottom of Luka's rap sheet. We need to separate the clickbait from what violence actually looks like in the official logs. When you hear an NBA owner banned a star for violence, a specific movie plays in your head. You picture a full-blown melee, knuckles flying, players being dragged apart, a line crossed so aggressively that the people signing the massive checks decided to lock out one of the best hoopers on the planet. That is the drama the headlines want you to buy. That is the blockbuster movie version. But here is the reality buried in the NBA archives. Luka has 107 career techs, $370,000 in fines from 115 different incidents, and 5 regular season ejections over 8 years. But here is the kicker. 0 suspensions, 0 punches landed, 0 brawls. He has never been in a situation the league officially categorizes as a fight. Every time he got tossed, it came from one source, his mouth. Let's break down the tape, all 5 moments. January 19th, 2019, Indiana. Pacers. Luka is just a 19-year-old rookie. The Mavs are down 78-65. He has been chirping at the refs all night. With 3 minutes left in the third, he boots the ball into the stands out of frustration. Boom. Second tech, first career. Ejection. The league fines him $10,000. No punch, no shove, just a kicked ball. Fast forward to May 2021 against the Kings. Luka enters the night sitting on 14 techs, just 2 away from a mandatory suspension. In the second quarter, after an offensive foul, he storms past referee Rodney Mott, screaming his head off. That is the first tech. Then, with 31 seconds left in a game that was already over, he launches the ball across the full length of the court during a timeout. Second tech, gone. Coach Rick. Carlisle gets run too. Luka argued the calls should be wiped, but the league said no dice. Again, no punches, just a thrown ball and a lot of noise. 7 days later, May 9th, 2021, Cleveland Cavaliers. This one stands out. In a tussle for a rebound with Colin Sexton in the first quarter, Luka delivers what the refs called an aggressive shot below the belt. Flagrant 2, immediate ejection. This is the only mark on his record that resembles physical aggression. But Sexton's take, he called it a standard box-out play and said they were cool, no bad blood. Luka actually laughed while walking off the floor. He admitted he saw the replay and tagged Sexton, but swore it wasn't intentional. Just 2 competitors fighting for a loose ball. December 19th, 2022, Minnesota Timberwolves. Dallas is 15-16, trailing 85-71. Luka draws contact from Jaden McDaniels, but here's no whistle. He explodes. Referee Nick Booker hits him with 2 technicals back-to-back and rapid fire. Gone. Jason Kidd gets tossed, trying to stick up for him. Luka admitted later he earned the first one, but the second was a shock. He said he just smiled. April 8th, 2025, OKC Thunder. Luka is now wearing Laker gold. Fourth quarter, he hits a bucket to put LA up 108-107. Then trash talks a fan courtside named Jeremy Price. Referee J.T. Orr thinks the curse words were meant for him. Second tech, ejected. The Lakers collapse and lose by 16. The very next day, the NBA apologizes and wipes that second tech. The ejection was a mistake. J.T. Orr was even left off the 2025 playoff roster. That is the whole list. 5 ejections in 8 seasons, all stemming from running his mouth or frustration fouls. 107 technicals, $370,000. in fines across 115 incidents. 0 suspensions, 0 punches, 0 brawls. That is the so-called violence in the headlines. The record is real, but calling it violent is a massive stretch. Now, let's talk about the scuffles. When things actually got physical around Luka. If the ejections paint him as a guy who can't stop arguing with the stripes, then the altercations tell a deeper story. While Luka isn't the one throwing haymakers, he is constantly at the center of the storm where trash talk boils over into actual physical confrontations. But here is the distinction. In every single case, it was someone else escalating and someone else paying the price. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives like this. The most infamous example goes back to August 2020 in the Orlando bubble. First round of the playoffs, Mavs versus Clippers. Marcus Morris Sr. was the Clippers' designated hitman sent to rattle Luka. He was physical, relentless, loud, and frankly, dirty. Let's rewind the tape to the bubble. Remember that Marcus Morris drama? It wasn't just physical, it was dirty. In Game 5, Morris didn't just play hard, he stepped right on Luka's bad ankle while Doncic was already down. The Dallas bench went ballistic, screaming for a foul. By Game 6, Morris ramped it up, committing a nasty flagrant 2. Taking a cheap shot at Luka's head and neck, he was tossed immediately. The Mavs were fuming, and Doncic, playing on essentially one leg, called it out for what it was, a terrible play that happened 2 games running. But here is the crazy part about that rivalry, if you love NBA comeback stories. Smash that like button right now. That beef burned white hot and then just vanished. The next season, Morris walked right up to Luka during a game and apologized, man to man. Luka accepted it, even calling Morris a hell of a player and a top-tier defender. He said the trash talk was just part of the game and he actually loved it. No grudges, no subtweeting. The beef died because they left it on the court. But don't worry, the drama didn't end there. The rivalry that replaced Morris as the #1 headache on Doncic's schedule belongs to Kris Dunn of the Los Angeles Clippers. And folks, this one is scorching hot. Dunn is a defensive pest, one of those high motor, wiry guards who makes a paycheck by annoying superstars. He guards Doncic with suffocating pressure, calling him a flopper and refusing to back down. Luka responds by burying step-back threes in Dunn's face, smirking, and letting him hear about it. But the explosion happened on November 25th, 2025, during an NBA Cup clash between the Lakers and Clippers. The Lakers were rolling, blowing them out 135-118. But late in the fourth, with the game basically over, Dunn decided to send a message. He cheap-shotted Luka in the back during a rebound battle. Luka hit the floor hard, bounced up, and got right in Dunn's face. Zubac scored a hook shot nearby, but nobody cared because the real action was Doncic and Dunn exchanging words. Dunn took a swipe, and suddenly, we had a brawl on our hands. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a breakdown like this. Chaos erupted fast. Dunn shoved the basketball straight into Doncic's chest. Look at that replay. He jams the ball right into Luka's sternum. Disrespectful? You bet. But watch the backup. Jackson Hayes comes flying in with a shove to the back. He's definitely hitting the showers for that one. That push from Hayes, delivered squarely into Dunn's back, is the kind of teammate loyalty that changes the vibe of a locker room. Hayes didn't think twice. He saw his star get hit and he reacted. Dunn swung back at Hayes and the refs had to dive in. So the scorecard, Kris Dunn gets a tech for shoving the ball into Luka Dončić. Immediately after, the Lakers' Jackson Hayes gets hit with a technical for retaliating against Dunn. Dunn grabbed a second unsportsmanlike tech and got ejected. Hayes walked away with just 1. The NBA league office reviewed the tape and decided no suspensions were needed. Luka, he casually finished with 38 points. And in the post-game presser, he made a boss move. When a reporter asked, "Are you going to pay Jackson's fine?" Luka didn't hesitate. "I got it. I told him right away." Doncic didn't just say thanks. He opened his wallet. That's leadership. When they asked him about the beef with Dunn, he kept it simple. What sparked it? "I was just waiting for the rebound," Luka said. "Got a cheap shot in my back. I'm not going to just stand there. I ain't afraid of nobody." And then he dropped the quote that perfectly sums up his career. Sometimes it's going to get physical. There's a lot of trash talk. I live for that. I love it. This is the Luka pattern. It's been the same story since 2019. Doncic is always at the center of the storm, but he never throws the first punch. Morris went for the ankle, Dunn went for the back, Westbrook went after PJ Washington. Every single time, Doncic stands his ground, chirps back, and watches them lose their cool. The ejections, the fines, the flagrant fouls, they always go to the other guy. That's why calling Luka violent is a joke. It's his mouth that does the damage. If you've watched Luka Dončić play more than 3 times, you know the drill. He hits an impossible shot, doesn't get the whistle, turns to the ref, throws his arms out, and starts a loud, often profane, and very long argument that keeps going even while the game moves to the other end of the floor. Complaining is as fundamental to his game as the step back 3. It's as predictable as his triple doubles, and it drives everyone insane, teammates, coaches, fans, and especially the referees. The stats back it up too. Since the 2020-21 season, Luka Dončić is absolutely shattering records you don't want to break, averaging over 15 technical fouls per season and hitting 107 career techs by early March 2026. He has become a permanent fixture on the league's disciplinary report. During the 2020-21 campaign, he racked up 16 technicals, falling just 1 short the mandatory suspension limit. The next season, he hit 17. The year after, 17 again. He walks the razor's edge of suspension every year, stopping right before the drop, looking like a man who knows exactly where the line is and gets a twisted thrill out of towing it. Before we dive into his wildest outbursts, smash that like button if you think the refs need to let them play. His rap sheet is legendary. In September 2020, during a playoff dogfight with the Clippers, he fired the ball off a referee's legs, earning a swift $15,000 fine. Then, in March 2023 against the Warriors, he locked eyes with an official and rubbed his fingers together, the universal sign for you're bought. He didn't get teed up in the moment, but the league saw it. The NBA hit him with a $35,000 fine post-game, the biggest check he's had to write. He paid it. The Mavs protested. The fine stuck. But this relentless war with the officials is starting to cost his team in real time. And it is something that even his biggest stans, the people who worship his competitive fire, are starting to flag as a serious issue. When Luka is busy screaming at a ref, he isn't sprinting back on defense. When he snags a technical in a tight fourth quarter, he is literally gifting the opponent a free point. When he gets tossed, which has happened 5 times, his team is left stranded, often sinking the ship without their captain. Brian Windhorst dropped a truth bomb on First Take regarding this, and it clearly struck a nerve on the set. He asked the room, "Do you trust Luka?" Jay Williams was sitting right there. Do you trust him to lead a title run? No. That was Jay Will's verdict. A flat out, immediate no. And his reasoning went deeper than just the whining. He highlighted a massive disconnect between Luka's monster stat lines and his actual impact on winning basketball. He isn't even in the frame for half the plays. He's ghosting the defensive end while he's stuck in a one-on-one debate with the referee. Stephen A. Smith, for all his theatrical flair, actually landed on a crucial point here. He questioned whether Luka's lack of effort on defense and his emotional explosions cancel out the leadership traits a championship star needs. Sure, he's the scoring champ, but pause for a second, make sure to subscribe so you never miss these breakdowns. Yes, he's leading the league in turnovers and usage rate too. And then Smith delivered the line that shuts down most Luka defenders. You can overcome all the drama if the man plays a lick of defense. The fact that he couldn't stop a nosebleed is the real problem. The constant complaining feeds the defensive breakdowns. The breakdowns lead to losses, and the losses build the narrative that Luka, despite his breathtaking talent, cannot be the cornerstone of a team that actually wins the whole thing. That label damages his legacy way more than any fine ever could. However, that mouth does serve a purpose. It creates electricity. Luka isn't a silent assassin who lets the bucket do the talking. He is a loud, smirking villain who buries a contested step-back 3 in your face and stares you down while the arena erupts. That energy builds rivalries. It turns boring regular season games into grudge matches and transforms playoff series into personal vendettas. The beef with Devin Booker is the perfect example. During the 2022 West semis, with the Suns cruising in Game 5, Booker flopped, stayed on the floor, and jokingly called it the Luka special to a fan recording him. It was a mock tribute to Luka's reputation for selling calls. Luka heard about it, and his response on the court was nuclear. In Game 7, he dropped 35 points, 27 in the first half alone, in a 123-90 massacre. The Suns, the number 1 seed in the conference, were absolutely obliterated. Booker's trash talk had woken the beast, yet even that rivalry cooled off. By Christmas 2023, Booker was congratulating Luka on the birth of his daughter. Booker later admitted the mutual respect was always there, and the internet just blew their on-court battles out of proportion. Luka agreed, calling their relationship good. That is the paradox of his trash talk. It lights a massive fire for a series, burns hot, and then vanishes because it isn't personal. It's just competitive fuel, burned up in the moment and gone when the buzzer sounds. The emerging rivalry with Anthony Edwards feels different though, more media generated than organic, focusing on narrative symmetry rather than real hate. Edwards and Luka are both young, supremely confident, and unstoppable scorers. ESPN's Tim Legler dubbed it the best rivalry of the 2024-25 season. You won't see these two throwing punches or getting tossed from the game. There is zero bad blood on the hardwood here, folks. It is purely a clash of styles. Luka's slow motion wizardry versus Edwards' raw athletic explosions. It is not about personal grit. It is about the cameras creating a narrative. But while the media hyped that rivalry, the real blockbuster story was Dallas folding their hand and Los Angeles pushing all their chips to the center of the table. Forget the technical fouls. The actual fireworks were exploding quietly within the Mavericks front office. General manager Nico Harrison had been scrutinizing his superstar like a hawk. We are talking about a deep dive into everything: conditioning, diet, those roller coaster weight changes, and lifestyle choices that screamed red flag for his longevity. Once the dust settled on that February 2025 trade, the reports were damning. The front office was fed up with Luka's shape, whispering about a scale tipping at 271 pounds, a love for beer and hookah, and a work ethic that just didn't match his talent level. Dallas didn't just see a sluggish star. They saw a ticking time bomb. They felt their franchise cornerstone wasn't fully committed to the grind, so they pulled the trigger. In February 2025, the NBA world stood still. In a move that shattered every prediction, the Mavericks shipped Luka Dončić to the Lakers for Anthony Davis and a single first-round pick. Social media melted down, and Luka? He was completely blindsided. If you are stunned by this trade history, make sure to hit that like button right now. It feels surreal saying Luka Dončić is a Laker. When you see him rocking that purple and gold number 77, what runs through your mind? Jeannie Buss, the Lakers boss, admitted she is still pinching herself. She broke down the deal with a mix of shock and masterclass strategy, revealing the talks only heated up weeks before the deadline. Keeping it under wraps was mission critical. She emphasized that secrecy was the name of the game because Rob Pelinka and the brass knew one leak could torpedo the whole operation. Buss confirmed that the trade hit Luka out of nowhere. The reality hadn't even sunk in when she first welcomed him to LA. She handled it with grace, understanding that getting traded is a massive ego check. It is a humbling experience that no superstar wants to face. And she could tell he was still processing the shock of being moved like a chess piece. And hey, if you want more insider NBA stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Then Buss dropped a bombshell that tugged at every Laker fan's heartstrings. She shared a connection to the late, great Kobe Bryant that made this trade feel like destiny rather than just business. She admitted they gave up a haul, but the chance to land Luka was priceless. She reflected on the last time she saw Kobe. Just a month before the tragedy, Kobe had brought his daughter Gigi to a game specifically to watch Luka work his magic. Why? Because Luka was Gigi's absolute favorite player. Buss said knowing Luka is now carrying the torch in LA would have brought a smile to both their faces. That is powerful stuff. But looking at the basketball side, the debate is raging. Over on First Take, Jay Williams argued that while moving Luka was insane, Nico Harrison might have had valid reasons related to team culture. He noted that while Steph Curry's system is unique, Luka is in a lane of his own. Regardless of the fit, Jay Will insisted Luka remains one of the most gifted scorers to ever touch a basketball. Stephen A. Smith, on the other hand, wasn't buying the justification. He admitted the conditioning concerns were real, the bad habits, the weight, but he screamed that trading a generational talent like Doncic was a massive blunder, especially for a return package of just Anthony Davis and a pick. He highlighted that AD isn't even on the Mavs anymore. Sure, Dallas lucked out getting Cooper Flagg in the lottery, but Stephen A. insists that was pure luck, not a strategic win. For Luka, this was the ultimate wake-up call. New city, new pressure, and a clean slate. The results? In the 2025-26 season, he is playing like a man possessed through 48 games. He is the NBA's scoring king, dropping 32.5 points a night, grabbing 7.7 boards, and dishing 8.6 assists. The efficiency is up, the motor is running hot, and he looks locked in. Will the old habits creep back in? That is the million-dollar question, but so far the transition has been seamless. Buss explained that the organization rolled out the red carpet not just for the player, but for his entire circle. They handled every logistical nightmare so he could focus on ball. Luka didn't know LA from a map, so finding a home and settling down was a priority, all while he was trying to learn a brand new playbook under a rookie head coach. The Lakers made it their mission to embrace his family and his management team, ensuring that the chaos of a midseason move didn't derail their new MVP candidate. Listen, the front office knew exactly what they were doing. They stacked the deck in their favor. Head coach Redick wasn't a stranger. He spent a brief stint balling alongside Doncic in Dallas, creating an instant bridge of trust. Then you have Dorian Finney-Smith, another former Maverick, moved to LA weeks prior, ensuring a friendly face was waiting in the locker room. These weren't accidents, folks. This was a tactical masterclass designed to force chemistry into a chaotic situation. If you love seeing how front offices play 4D chess, make sure to smash that like button right now. But let's keep it real. Even with the red carpet rolled out, the transition was messy. The early reports highlighted just how emotionally wrecked the superstar was. Imagine this. He had just closed on a dream house in Texas. He was nesting. His family was settled. And then snap, the rug gets pulled out. Jeanie Buss later revealed that during their first sit-down, it was clear the trade hadn't fully hit him yet. He was walking around in a daze, still trying to process the betrayal of being traded by the very team that was supposed to be his kingdom. That raw emotion spilled over in early March 2026. We all saw the sideline fireworks with Coach Redick. It was a tight game against the Kings, tensions were high, and suddenly Doncic and Redick are going at it. Redick grabs his arm, trying to guide him to the bench, but the shouting match didn't stop. That is when Jared Vanderbilt stepped up, literally clapping his hands and wedging himself between them to cut the tension. The press called it a stroke of diplomatic genius, and guess what? No technical fouls were handed out. The team kept a lid on it, handling it in-house. But that moment was a wake-up call for Lakers Nation. That legendary fire, the same passion that fuels his highlights and his suspension risks, didn't get left behind in Texas. It traveled to Los Angeles, right inside Doncic's carry-on, packed snugly next to his signature step-back jumper and those 30-point triple-doubles. So, is he getting banned? No. Is he violent? No. It is just Luka being Luka. We are talking about a guy with 107 technicals and $370,000 in fines across 115 different flare-ups. It is a massive number that proves one thing. He has an emotional engine that referees hate, but fans, depending on the jersey they wear, either worship or despise. But let's look at the facts. He has been tossed from 5 games, always for running his mouth, never for throwing hands. The most violent thing on his record? A flagrant 2 on Colin Sexton that even Sexton admitted was just a basketball play gone wrong. Before we get into his insane stats, if you want us to keep bringing you the truth behind the headlines, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Now, look at the talent. This guy is a unicorn. Doncic is the only human in NBA history to average 25 points, 8 boards, and 8 assists for a career. He has already racked up 88 triple-doubles, sitting 7th on the all-time list at just 27 years old. In the playoffs, he is a killer, averaging 30.9 points, ranking 2nd in history for anyone with 50 postseason games. The trophy case is loaded. 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA First Team, Rookie of the Year, and the 2023-24 scoring champ. He commands the offense like no one else, holding the highest usage rate ever recorded at 35.7%. His career box plus minus is 7.7. That is 4th all time, folks. And don't forget the night he dropped 73 points, tied for the 4th highest scoring barrage in league history. He sprinted to 14,000 points, 4,000 rebounds, and 4,000 assists faster than almost anyone to ever lace them up. The names he gets compared to, they aren't just good, they are Mount Rushmore material. Experts see Magic Johnson in his passing, Larry Bird in his resses, court vision, James Harden in his isolation game, and early LeBron James in his playoff dominance. Remember, this guy conquered Europe before he could legally drink in the US. He was a EuroLeague MVP at 19. He led Slovenia to Eurobasket gold at 18. He speaks 4 languages: Slovenian, Serbian, English, and Spanish, picking up the latter while dominating at Real Madrid. But off the court, the rumor mill has been spinning. His fiancée, Ana Maria Goltes, posted a decade-long recap on Instagram earlier in 2026 that showed their daughters, but suspiciously left Luka out, fueling breakup rumors. Regardless of the gossip, he is a dedicated father to Gabriella and Olivia, famously saying he plays so they can one day understand his legacy. He puts his money where his heart is too. His foundation pledged $5 million to help 77 young athletes and dropped another $500,000 for wildfire relief in LA. When he arrived in Hollywood, owner Jeannie Buss didn't sugarcoat the pressure. She told him straight up, "People come here and worry about living up to the past." She told him to ignore the ghosts and write his own history. And that is when Luka said something that stopped her cold. He looked at her and said, "You know, I really wish Kobe was here." That is the man behind the headlines. Not a thug, not a villain, just a fierce competitor, unfiltered, and ready to carry the torch. What do you think? Will Luka bring a title to LA? Let us know in the comments. Through his foundation, dropping a massive $5 million to uplift 77 young athletes globally, while also pledging $500,000 to the Los Angeles Wildfire Relief Fund. Talk about making an entrance. When he landed, Lakers owner Jeannie Buss was there to greet him with a message that captured the immense gravity of the franchise he'd just joined. She told me later, when we met, the very first thing I said to him, because honestly, whenever stars come to the Lakers, the history is so heavy, they often wonder, how am I ever going to stand out? Was that he was here to write his own chapter in the history books. And then Luka said something that completely floored her. He looked at her and admitted that, no, he really just wished Kobe was there to see it. That right there is the human behind the headlines, not a man banned for violence. He's not a thug, and he's certainly not a brawler. He is a fiercely competitive, emotionally unfiltered, and yes, occasionally self-destructive basketball savant who argues with every ref he meets, gets dragged into shoving matches. He didn't even start and drives defenders absolutely nuts. But when the dust settles and the technical fouls are tallied, he walks to the podium and admits he lives for the chaos. And if you live for this drama too, hit subscribe. The question was never whether an NBA owner banned Luka Dončić for violence. No owner did. The real question is whether Luka can stop tripping over his own feet long enough to snag the one thing his resume is missing, a ring. And that question, unlike the catchy title of this video, doesn't have a simple clickbait answer. We have to watch the season play out to find the truth. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button and click on one of the boxes popping up on your screen right now to catch more exclusive Hoops content.